Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. I have to clean my screen there because that was just a little foggy. Hopefully that will clear itself up. Let's try that one more time. See if we can get that a little bit better. And you guys will definitely have to bear with me. You have my apologies. This is normally some of the prep stuff that I do before I actually go live, and a little off kilter today, but hopefully we will get it back together. And I was a little late because I was trying to look up a statistic for something that I actually want to talk about. And yeah, I wasn't able to find the statistic that I wanted, but I think I have a good number that I can actually leverage. So we are streaming live right now on the Twitch machine, and at some point we will release this video for those of you that are on YouTube. But I want to try to continue as best I can to put out some content for the folks over on Twitch as well. Joe, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the live stream. Definitely appreciate you hanging out with me just a little bit. I am doing well. Well, thank you for rolling in here. Who else is in here? It's just the three of us right now. Wes is in the house. How you doing? I think you guys have to like watch a commercial or something like that before you come in. So I think it may take a minute for people to flow in. What's interesting is that my counter still shows that there are 0 people here. So I don't actually know how many of you are here because I see at least 3, but the counter says 0. There could be 300 for all I know. Not the case, but wishful thinking on my part. Was going to bed when I saw the notice. Oh man, I definitely appreciate you just swinging by, brother. Joe, it's good to see you, my man. Go ahead and get some rest. Don't let me hold you up and mess up your sleep. Oh, welcome, man. He said, this is my first live stream of yours, pro wrestler, comic book creator, and writer here. That's what's up. You sound like me, brother. How many jobs do you have? And that is basically me. So I definitely appreciate you guys hanging out with me just a little bit. I think you were able to see the title of this live stream. It has a little something to do with Miles Morales. And there was a subscriber, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me at the moment, that reached out to me yesterday and dropped some information on me. And it was solid information that I could not act upon yesterday. I needed to record some other videos and was trying to save my energy for those videos instead of, putting my energy into a live stream. And so I had to prioritize some things, right? So the information that he provided me was still good, and I wanted to address it, and I decided to do it here on Twitch. And like I said, I'll release this for the YouTube community at some point. So let me see. A couple of other people have popped in here. How you doing, brother? He says, is finally able to catch a Twitch stream. Well, welcome to you. Keeps freezing. I don't understand that. You would assume that Twitch would have its stuff together, but maybe I don't have enough seniority here to get some good bandwidth. We may have to change that. ER Medic is in the house. How you doing, bro? It's good to see you, my friend. So we are going to talk about something. And I'm curious for the handful of you that are actually here in this live stream. Have you guys ever heard of Dogman? Have you guys ever heard of Dogman? That is my question to you right now. I'm curious if any of you have actually heard of this particular character. Picked up. No, that's off topic. We can't talk about that. That is off topic, but I will say congratulations. Congratulations. All right. So that's one person that says that they have not heard of Dogman. I'm going to assume that others of you haven't either. I'm going to be honest. I hadn't heard of it until I started to do some research probably a few months ago for, some video I was working on. I started to do some research. Dogman is, I do believe, one of the best-selling graphic novels of all times. I do believe. I could be slightly off on that. Again, I was looking for some statistics. But here's the thing. It's a graphic novel, which is a fancy word. It's a dressed up word for comic book, right? It is a comic book that we as comic book fans have never heard of. And the reason for it is because we are not the target market for this particular graphic novel. But you know who is? school age children. A lot of people talk about monopolies and things like that. And then they say monopolies are bad. And I would agree with that. I think the monopolies are bad. I'm a big fan of competition. But sometimes if you have a monopoly, man, if you can get one and sustain it, it is a fantastic way to drive some market share and some sales. And I'm actually going to try to share my screen here with you because I want to highlight for you how this particular monopoly by Scholastic has benefited Dog Man Comics. And Scholastic is the monopoly that I'm talking about. You remember Scholastic from back in the day when you were in school. It was that little thing that you get, a little newspaper-like thing that you would get with all the books in there that you would then take home and ask your parents if you could actually get some books. And what parent says, no, you can't have books, right? Very few parents will actually say no to books, right? But Scholastic is in all of the schools. And I think they give money to the schools, and that's how they maintain what it is that they actually do. But they have driven since 2016 more than 26 million copies of the first 7 books in the Dog Man series that have actually been sold, printed and sold, right? Graphics, and in 2019 alone, they have printed more than 7 million Dog Man books. And that's not including Fetch 22 and this is all for the US market. They are printing these things hand over fist. And I saw an article and I was kind of searching for these articles, and it was basically like, Dog Man has outsold Spider-Man and Captain America, and they just went down the list of all of these characters because, again, Dog Man is sold through Scholastic, and Scholastic is right in the schools. And so people are buying these books. In the first 7 weeks, Fetch, which I think is like this newer book that came out, they sold more than 300,000 copies according to BookScan. That is just incredible. That is an incredible number of books to actually sell, right? Now, why am I talking about this? Those were 1990 numbers. Were they 1990? No, they were there. No, those were more recent than that. But I think the reason that I bring it up is because Marvel has just put a deal in place that will potentially cement Miles Morales' legacy for the future. They have put a deal in place with Scholastic to basically put into Scholastic, and therefore schools all across America, Miles Morales. And this is the piece of news that was shared with me by a subscriber just yesterday. So I'm actually going to share my screen with you again. Marvel Entertainment and Scholastic announce OGN program. This is a multi-year original graphic novel program which will publish Marvel superhero stories in Scholastic's graphics media line. The move brings together the country's largest graphic novel publisher, fancy word for comics, and most popular character in geek culture, creating a potent competitor for DC's House line of graphic novels for young readers. This is actually going to launch in 2021 with Miles Morales Shockwaves, written by Justin Reynolds. And what is it? I didn't read this quote here, but basically what they are about to do is they are about to start putting Miles Morales front and center in front of millions of kids. And will that be impacted by COVID? I don't know. I don't know what, I don't know if all schools are going to be out or going to be virtual. I don't know. But my point is that Scholastics is still selling books. And so Miles Morales is going to go along with that, as is Camilla Khan. Camilla Khan is actually going to be in the second volume that's going to be going into Scholastic. And again, I'll tell you guys, this to me is a sign, if you will, that as the current generation starts to get older and they start to get jobs, well, they go to college and they start to get jobs and they start to have disposable income, they're going to be buying up the Miles Morales books because they're nostalgic for them. The same way that we are out there buying up books from the 80s and the 90s and in some cases the 70s, because that is reminiscent of our own childhood. This to me is a sign, is a move that the next generation is going to reminisce over Miles Morales and maybe Camilla Khan and maybe some Kate Bishop and maybe some of these other folks that that we are starting to kind of, you know, some people look past these characters. And my point is that there may be some magic that actually gets made here down the road as a result of moves like this right here. And again, if they can sell 26 million, whatever number copies of Dogman, and we have never heard of it, just imagine what they may be able to do with a really cool character like Miles Morales, who has a movie, another movie coming, and also has a pretty cool comic already. Imagine what would happen, right? With a little bit of marketing behind him and going into these schools. So let me scroll down. Let me see. Okay. I got you now. I got you now. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. It's like they are setting this character up, in my opinion, for a very strong future. You know what I'm saying? And again, you know, the thing is that I still reminisce over Transformers. That's why I'm doing like these 80s related video series where it's like I'm talking about the toys and the comics and all this kind of stuff, because that's from my childhood. My boy is watching Transformers. He's going to be talking about the Transformers the same way that I am in the next 20 and 30 years as he gets a little bit older. And my feeling is that Miles Morales is going to be the same way. And I don't think that this, at least I don't hope that it's going to displace like Peter Parker, because Peter Parker is still Spider-Man. Let's never confuse that. But you know, I think that for some people, Miles Morales is going to be maybe that generation's, you know, Peter Parker, that generation Spider-Man. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to kind of see how it plays out, but I don't think that one is going to supplant the other. At least that's what I hope. I think that there's room for all of these fantastic characters to have their own space to breathe. And even though they have the same name, I think that there's still room for all of these characters to be there. So, but yeah, I definitely agree that Miles is here to stay. No doubt about that. And I'm here trying to keep up with Black Widow. Xavier, brother, I wish you luck keeping up with the Black Winter, because that, man, that is deep. Am I picking up the current Transformers 84 series right now? No, man, I'm not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not, because of the recent purchase of this very large collection. I'm really just like focused on that stuff. Like I literally have a stack of books right here, and I've been going through a stack of books. I have another stack of books out here that I'm about to do a video for in a second. I have my hands full with books right now that I'm not really buying a whole lot, to be honest with you. I'm reading a lot, but I'm not buying a whole lot just because I have a lot on my plate right now. And, you know, you just can't keep taking stuff in, you know? So, but I actually have not heard of anyone that's actually reading that series, but you know, if enough people start to recommend it, then maybe I'll actually take a look at it. But so that the Miles Morales Scholastic thing was one thing that I wanted to kind of talk with you guys about. Let me see. Any chance they'll alter Miles's name from Spider-Man to something else? How they switch? Yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, I would say to you that anything is possible. I would say that anything is possible. You know, the question is it too late for that? Right? Into the Spider-Verse, is it too late for them to switch up his name? I don't know the answer to it. I would ask you this: how many people know Amadeus Cho's new name? The guy that was Incredible Hulk. How many know his revised name? Anybody know his name? Amadeus Cho. I can't remember what his first appearance. His first appearance was in Amazing Fantasy 15, I do believe. Which is, you know, of course, the homage to the real Amazing Fantasy 15. But anyone know his real name? His new name? It's actually Braun. I do believe he went from like Hulk, or totally awesome Hulk, to Braun. And I don't think anybody actually knows the guy's name. I still just call him Amadeus Cho, aka the Hulk, you know? So I don't know. I don't know if there is enough mental space, if you will, for people to be able to embrace a new name at this point. And I think a lot of people don't even refer to him as Spider-Man. They refer to him as Miles Morales. you know, and that's basically what people call him, Miles Morales. And that is part and parcel Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying? The younger version of Spider-Man, you know? So I don't know. Me too. I like Hulk better. Like Braun. What? What is it? Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, bro. No, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you, I went through a box earlier today. I went through a Batman box. There was some fire in this Batman box. I mean, it was a really, really solid box. And man, I was excited about this particular box because soon it was one of the ones that as soon as I found it in the bin, I was like, oh yeah, you have to go to the house. I mean, in the storage facility. Yeah, you have to go to the house. So I took it to the house. I just looked through it. And man, there was some good stuff in there. So scrolling through, was the totally awesome Hulk. Yep, there you go. He was the totally awesome Hulk. His name is Amadeus Cho. He now goes by Braun, I do believe. And you guys, I could be wrong. You guys may need to fact check me on that. I sometimes make stuff up as a marketer. I sometimes make stuff up and I can make it sound good. He needs a new branding manager. There you go. He needs somebody to take ownership of this. Bro, I don't think you can call him the Asian Hulk. I'ma just say that. I don't think you can do that. Man, I'm gonna tell you, man, who is it? Somebody posted up on the on one of my comments. They were like, I chuckled when you started talking about you were digging in your shorts. And my comment was, what's so funny about me digging in my shorts? I don't understand the humor of that. Thank you, bro. Yeah, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am very hopeful that I'm going to actually find some more Ultimate Fallouts in other bins. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, because in that particular bin where I found the Ultimate Fallout, it kind of made sense that it was there because it was Ultimate Universe stuff that was in that bin. But I've actually found Ultimate Universe stuff in other bins. And I've also found really good books randomly placed in bins where they don't have a reason to be there, you know? And so I am hopeful that even though I've gone through 2 boxes that are labeled Ultimate Universe stuff, my hope, if you will, air quote, because they weren't really labeled, but labeled Ultimate Universe, my hope is that I may actually stumble upon some other books elsewhere in the collection, maybe even some first prints. So definitely keeping my fingers crossed. And I can tell you for a fact, like, I will go into a bin and I will find like 8 copies of something really good. And then I will go to another bin elsewhere and I will find 2 more copies. And then I'll go to another bin and I'll find 5 more copies of the exact same book, just spread apart. So I'm very hopeful that I'm going to be able to locate some additional copies. And if not, it's all good. If not, it is all good. Because it's, you know, it's like, it's just all fun. It is just all fun when I'm able to find. So yeah, fingers crossed that we are going to continue to make some magic. And I can tell you, man, I like I said, with this Batman stuff, I came across some really, really awesome stuff today. So the next thing that I wanted to kind of share with you guys is by this point in the day, I am pretty confident that you guys have already seen a lot of news around this particular thing. What is that comment? Still not the right time? No, man. It is not the right time. I mean, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. There may be some people out there that will choose to buy Ultimate Fallout #4 right now, and I am not going to begrudge them of that decision. Right? I could have bought that book when it was a few $100s, and I was prioritizing other books before that. Because that's what you do. You can't buy everything, right? So you're constantly like, I want to get this, but then you have to prioritize or deprioritize some things in order to achieve that. And I kept deprioritizing. and I missed the boat, right? And I am of the opinion that sometimes you have to let some things go by you. But if someone decides that they are going to go out and buy Ultimate Fallout, I wish them luck, because it may prove to be a very smart move on their part based upon like what I just talked about here with Scholastic and this deal that's being put in place. It could prove to be a very smart move, the same way that it could be a very smart move for me to and us to let this one get by us and to catch it on the other side, maybe as the price comes back down or levels out or something like that. There could be an opportunity for us to pick it up in a collection or something, right? To buy it from somebody that has a collection from the late 2000s that we may be able to snag, you know, or the mid 2000s, I should say. So I think anything is possible, you know. But if somebody buys it, I wish them luck. I wish them luck. So let me see. All right. So let me, you guys think you could drop? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, again, I mean, with me doing videos like this, being like, hey, they're setting up Miles Morales for the next generation, that might help keep prices up because some people are like, I'm gonna just hold it, right? You know, one thing, of course, that could affect the prices is if the movie gets delayed, if the you know, if the economy gets really bad, if people start to sell because they lose their jobs. I mean, there are all kinds of factors that could come into play that might actually influence what actually happens with that. So what is this? My first priority is Fantastic 449. There you go. There you go. And if you guys remember, just like 3 months ago, 4849 were like all the rage. And now everybody's all about Ultimate Fallout. And the thing is, can you pick up things like Fantastic 449 or Fantastic 466 and 67? You know, the Adam Warlock stuff. Can you pick up some of that stuff right now? Because no one else is really paying attention to some of that stuff. It could work to your advantage, right? Or Red Ocean versus Blue Ocean, right? So speaking of Red Ocean stuff, speaking of some Red Ocean stuff, the waters were already churning around Knull, and they started to churn even more when Donny Cates and Marvel released a video earlier today talking about King in Black. King in Black. Knull is coming. If you guys remember, I think it was last week I released that video basically talking about Knull is coming. And sure enough, now we know that Knull is coming in December in the form of a book called King in Black. This is going to be a major crossover event. That is my general feeling. It is a major crossover event. The next shocking chapter in Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman's Venom saga revealed. King in Black conquers the Marvel Universe this December. So this font is way too small for me to read. So I'm going to blow it up so I can actually see it. The entire Marvel Universe braces itself for King in Black, the latest installment in writer Donny Cates's and artist Ryan Stegman's revolutionary take on the Venom mythos. Knull is coming, and when he arrives, everyone from the Avengers to the X-Men will learn how unprepared they are to face off against Knull. I mean, this thing is going to be awesome. And, you know, there's a video, a trailer, if you will, that was released by Donny Cates and Ryan. Basically, they were sitting at their houses talking about the book, and Marvel kind of spliced it together and released it from their YouTube channel. Basically, these guys saying people are not ready. They are saying that the Marvel Universe characters are not ready, and we as readers, as collectors, as people that are passionate about comics, we too are not ready for what Donny and Ryan are actually going to be doing. And so I'm pumped. I'm really pumped to see this one. You know, I think that some people were a little disappointed with the recent Carnage story arc, Absolute Carnage. But this one has, again, some potential to be really, really fantastic. Knull is hot, man. So we will see where it's going to go. And they're talking about this thing. It's going to be cool. It's going to be dark. It's going to be heavy. And both of them, and when you listen to the video, both of them seem to be very, very proud of what it is that they're going to be bringing to the table. And so they are several months in advance on this thing. I feel like, you know, they're making some noise. They are making some noise. And if Donny and Ryan continue to make magic happen, man, Knull could be here for a while. And so even those people that have picked up Knull in the last few days, that spent a lot of money for Knull. Again, now maybe they're justified, especially with this book dropping, you know? And so, you know, the question is, here's the question. The real question is, how many variant covers will there be of King in Black? My guess is that they're going to be a lot. Let me scroll down. Let me see what you guys are talking about. King in Black, ready for it, especially with the X-Men on the cover. Man, it's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out, you know. Man, I'm excited. Multiple copies. Just bought Ravenscroft's #1 and check it out. Not bad. No, this old school apparently is Xavier's comment. How you doing, brother? Get ready. I'm telling you, they're coming. I am. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I am keeping my fingers and toes crossed right now that he makes his way. You know, the thing is in many ways, I still believe that, you know, Amazing Spider-Man and X-Men titles are like the mainstay titles, right? I still believe that they are some of the most important titles within Marvel. That's my belief as an X-Men guy and as a Spider-Man guy. That is my belief, you know. And so I think that Donny is a caliber of writer where he wants to have that reputation and those experiences, right? Where he can point to and be like, yes, I did these things, you know, I made Venom relevant. You know, I introduced Knull and Black Winter and Virus, and I built up, you know, Eddie Brock's son, Dylan, right? Built him up to be a character that people, you know, care about, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that he is continuing to explore these opportunities, if you will, to solidify his own status as a legendary writer. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, especially because he's putting out such good content. I mean, the guy's even hinted about bringing back the Ultimate Universe, right? He's hinted at bringing back the Ultimate Universe because he's like, he wants to do these challenging things again to continue building to his own resume, you know? And so as long as he continues to put out really good content that people enjoy, I say hats off, bro. Keep it going. So I would love to have him on Amazing Spider-Man. I think that it would be good for him. I think it would be good for the character. Nick Spencer is not doing it. Nick Spencer is not making magic happen. Let me see. Does anyone know of a site that tracks comic book prices over the years and decades? I don't believe that there is such a site. I mean, you can try GPA, but GPA is basically only for graded comics. Generally speaking, the best way that you can do it, honestly, is probably get yourself some old copies of Overstreet. When I did a historical look back at 40 years of blue chip comics, that's basically what we did. I knew somebody that had an inventory of 40 years worth of Overstreet guides, and that's how we actually did it, because I don't believe that there is a database that looks at comic values and prices over time, unfortunately. So, what is this? I agree. I like Hickman's current work, even though I have to read each issue twice, but Donny is money. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. Jonathan Hickman is deep, man. He has a lot of layers and texture to his stuff. And I think he does some of that because he doesn't want us to be able to predict what is going to happen. And I think he's in many ways layering things up so that he can, like Chris Claremont, have all of these different strings that he can pull over time, right? That's how Chris Claremont essentially had that fantastic 17-year-old run, if you will. He would write these stories and he would have these threads out there that, you know, he would go ahead and follow one, and then he'd come back and pull this one and take it in a different direction and then come back over here. And that's how he was able to kind of keep the X-Men fresh. To some degree or another, Jonathan Hickman is doing the same thing. He's telling these epic stories, if you will, in some cases with threads that don't really go anywhere today, because he's setting up 5 years from now, you know, and that's one of the beautiful things about that guy. But Donny, both of these guys, man, I'll tell you, whether you're talking about, and I'm gonna probably come up blank on some of the names right now, but Jonathan Hickman, Donny Cates, if you look at the guy that's on Immortal Hulk, you know, there are several writers, Chip Zdarsky on Daredevil. There are several writers at Marvel that are absolutely killing it. Absolutely killing it. You know, and when I say that this is a really good time to be in comics, I am not joking, because I think that there's a ton of really great things, not just on in Marvel, but also Image and DC as well. So there's a comic. So you actually, he's trying to go back years, and you can't really do that on Go Collect, and it's also just for graded comics, so the utility of it is somewhat limited, especially if you're looking for raw books. It's part of the reason why I didn't recommend that one. And they also don't have charts. I don't think they have value charts, because the other part of what he was looking for was value charts, and GPA actually does charts, but I don't know how far back GPA goes, and GPA only it only encompasses, I think, CGC books. And so no raw books, no CBCS. And so again, even that one's a limited thing. So again, I don't think that there is a really good resource out there for you guys to be able to use Wizard. Just go with Overstreet. Scrolling down through some of the comments here. Let me see. Scrolling down to the comments, see what else you guys are talking about. Or you can introduce a character and not refer to them again. Yeah. Well, hey, that's another way to do it. Just create like Stan Lee used to do back in the day. Just create these characters and just throw them out there and like jump ball. Anybody want it? You know, I think you know, a lot of these writers right now, you know, I want to say, like, I feel like Jonathan Hickman, what he did with the X-Men was really, really fantastic, because he went back to history. And he looked at all of these stories that was being told, and all these characters that were out there. And he told, or he's telling, new stories within the existing stories. And he's making small things from the past relevant now. And he's taking certain characters that weren't really important before, he's making them important. And so what he's doing is he's not just making new stuff. He's taking the old stuff and rearranging it. That to me is that takes a lot of work. That takes a lot of work, in my opinion, versus, and this isn't take anything away from anybody else, versus I'm just going to create a new character and I'm going to build up this universe around that new character, and I'm going to just write it the way that I want it to be, right? It's two different things, and both of them are fantastic. Both of them are super creative, but they're very different. Those are very different approaches. And I think if you have too much of one or the other, it would be bad. But the fact that we get both is really, really cool. It's really, really cool to watch these guys work. Al Ewing, thank you, brother. I wish that I had some of those talents to be able to do what these guys are doing. But they are killing it, man. They are killing it. So I'm scroll down. What is this? As an artist myself, I just appreciate the complexity of the art to make it clear, beautiful, and unique. Well said, brother. Well said. I could not disagree with a single word of that statement. I'm not an artist, but I do know a pretty picture when I see one, and I definitely know a really good story, right? You know, there are like, I've been reading some of Donny Cates stuff on Decorum, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm on issue 2 and I can't read it. I cannot read it. I am not enjoying Decorum at all, because it's almost like written in a Jonathan Hickman style, only not as clear as Jonathan Hickman is. Like, Jonathan Hickman's stuff is dense, and you might have to read it 2 or 3 times, but it's clear. That this other stuff that Donny's doing, ungood. I'm not digging that at all. Hickman had a huge undertaking, but is crushing it, and I'm glad Marvel. Yeah, I would agree. And you know what's really cool? What's really cool, at least based upon what I've read and seen, if you will, is that Jonathan didn't also do it by himself, right? He had an idea that was well thought out, well done, but then he also presented what he was doing, I do believe, at one of the X-Men retreats. There's a big retreat where all the X-title authors and creators go. He presented it, and basically he got all of these guys on board, and gals. He got them all on board, got them up to speed with what he was doing, so that they could create their own stories that tied into what he was doing. And in fact, if you let him tell it, Powers of 10 was never supposed to be a comic book. Powers of 10 was actually supposed to be basically a primer, if you will, for other creators to read so that they could create their own books. It was Power of 10 was basically a primer, a foundational book for creators. And it ended up becoming a complementary comic to House of 10. And if you remember, when we originally started talking about this, I kept talking about how Power of 10 was basically what you stood upon. It was a foundational piece. House was what you reached for. And as you took a step up on Power, you reached for House, and you were climbing that way, because in my head, Power was like, I'm going to lay it out. I'm going to give you the facts, and then everything else was built on top of it. That's how I felt. And then I listened to a podcast, and sure enough, these facts come out. I'm like, oh, well, that actually makes sense why I enjoy House better than Power. But I like Power because it gives me a lot of foundational information that helps me to maybe understand and embrace House even more. So super talented people, man. Super talented people. Let me see what else you guys are talking about. What is this? I always love Claremont's tight continuity and the fact that for the most part, you could enter the series and know what was going on. Yeah, I would not disagree with that. I would, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Chuck. If you listen to some of the interviews that he did, Chris did with some of his editors, some of that was also the editors that were keeping him honest, right? And I was talking before about these threads. They, I think, were also keeping track of some of those threads for him. So if he was ever like not sure what his next story was going to be, it sounded like they would remind him of these threads that he had dangling out there that he had not yet played with. And they also kind of helped keep the writing tight. And so I don't want to ever overlook the editors as well, because they too are super talented people that contribute to what these creators are putting out there. So scrolling down, because there was another comment here. What do you think the issue, pun intended, with Decorum is that Donny doesn't have the Marvel editing brass over his shoulder, so maybe he could see? Well, check that out. I had not read that comment when I made the point that I just made a second ago. There could be something there, right? Because that is a creator-owned property, which means that he doesn't have that infrastructure there to keep him honest and to be like, hey, this isn't clear. Hey, you might want to better explain that. Hey, this doesn't make sense, right? There is the Marvel method, old school Marvel method, but there is a method to the madness. Let's put it that way. And sometimes you need a good editor. Sometimes you need a good editor or peer review is what I call them, to look at your stuff and make sure that it makes sense. When I'm writing, long emails that give direction to people, I will send them to somebody and say, hey, just give me a peer review real quick. Just read it, make sure that it makes sense, make sure that I'm not reading it the way that I want it to be to sound. I want somebody to read it for the way that it's actually written. And sometimes it's nice to have that. And maybe to the point that's being made here, maybe Donny isn't crushing it with Decorum because he doesn't have that peer review. And because I am not enjoying Decorum. And I will sit there, and I've read like issue number 1 like a couple of times, and I started reading 2 and I put it away, and then I came back and started reading issue 2 and then I put it away, and I'm out. I can't do it. It's just not there for me. There you go. And it's like, we all are reading this stuff, and we're all like fans, and we're kind of reacting to it. And sometimes you don't know why you feel the way that you do until you hear somebody else articulate it. And then you're like, yeah, that's it. That's a good explanation for what I felt, right? I mean, let me see. There you go. I would agree. There you go. That was a really, really fantastic, documentary that was done, where we had an opportunity to hear from the editors and see Chris interact with his editors and just kind of talk about some of those stories. And it's just one of those things where, as much as we talk about Stan Lee didn't do this stuff by himself. He had other creators and collaborators that helped him to do what he did. And we all have that. None of us do what we do by ourselves, right? And as a person that gets to go on the stage, I recognize that I am not the reason for the magic that gets made, right? I may be the person on the stage that's getting the applause, but there are people behind me that have supported me, that have put me in a position to be able to go on that stage, to do that presentation, to get that applause. And I think it's important to turn around and acknowledge those people that have helped me to do what it is that I do. And so shout out to all those folks. So shout out. Oh, maybe I confused the two. Sorry. It happens. A lot of different names, a lot of different titles. If I got it wrong, then I messed it up. There we go. I messed it up. If I did, again, my bad. It happens. You know what? I actually have East to West in a bin down here. I've never actually read it. I have the entire run. And I also have the issue number 2 is the second print with a sketch cover on it. Sketch that was done by the artist. Never read it. Have not read it, but it's down here. How you doing, Cajun? It is good to see you. So again, sometimes I get things wrong. So we so far have been having a little bit of a conversation here around Scholastic and what Scholastic is actually doing with Miles Morales, how they're basically going to start putting Miles Morales into Scholastic, and Scholastic is in schools all across the country, and how that may actually support the popularity and the legendary status, if you will, for Miles Morales for generations to come. So we talked about that, and then we also talked a little bit about the news that has come out from Donny Cates and from Ryan Stegman, that being the new King in Black book that is going to be coming out in December. There was a video that was released by Marvel earlier today. If you guys haven't watched this trailer, I would definitely encourage you to check it out, because it's pretty cool. These guys are basically talking about the fact that the Marvel Universe and we as readers and collectors are not ready for what they are about to do with Knull in December. So those were the 2 big things that we talked about. And then I got a bunch of stuff wrong, and stuff happens. I read I want to say like issues 1 and 2 I read. I actually enjoyed it. It was a trippy read, made all the more trippy by what I call the Laffy Taffy artwork. But given that it was taking place in a black hole, the Laffy Taffy artwork made a whole lot of sense. And I enjoyed the first couple of issues, and then after a while I got distracted and did not read anything else that came out of Silver Surfer Black, but have multiple copies of issue number 1 and 2. And again, I read issue 1 and 2 and then was basically out of the game. So hey, man, here's the thing. It happens. And everybody knows what I meant, and no one's confused by it. I think people know. So stuff happens. So let me see. There you go. No doubt. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's going to be 100,000 different variants that are going to come out. They are announcing this thing in what month is this? July. Oh, there's going to be some variants of this one. You better believe the variants are going to flow with this one. Let me see. Wish Silver Surfer Black and the Cosmic Ghost Rider had better art, honestly. Yeah, I don't know if I can disagree with that. I had to remember back to the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Yeah, I don't know if I can disagree with that. I don't know if I can, but part of it is, I don't know if Donny gets to choose his own artist. My guess is that he does. And so maybe he's choosing artists that he actually enjoys, that he feels can, embody his work and that he can collaborate with and vibe with. I don't know. At this point, I don't know if they're picking people for him or if he gets to pick his own people. My guess is that he does. So what is this? Look up the story from Donny, how Silver Surfer Black came about. Pretty cool. I'll have to look that up because I don't know the story behind that one. So, oh my gosh, I hope not. I don't know if I'll ever buy another collection of 100,000 comics. I can tell you that. as fun as it is, man, it is very much work. So I'm actually headed back to the storage facility probably tomorrow morning. I have 7 bins that I'll be taking back to the storage facility. Maybe 9 by the time tonight is out. I'm actually going to film a couple of things here in just a second, a couple of digging in my shorts that you guys will probably see in, I don't know, like a month or something like that. I'm so far ahead with those videos because I've been digging in my shorts a lot. But I'll probably take, somewhere between 7 and 9 bins back tomorrow. And then I'll probably bring back about 10 bins and start working through those. And, I do some on camera and I do some off camera. And, I just ordered 10 new bins, BCW bins. Shout out to whoever that was that sent me that message about that discount code for BCW, because, I ended my relationship with them, I don't know, almost a year ago now. And, I didn't know about the discount code. So I ordered some stuff and, I ordered $80 worth of stuff. So I got the free shipping, but then someone told me about a discount code. So I applied that and took off another 10%. I was like, this is a smoking deal, man. So I have 5 new bins coming, and I need those 5 bins because I'm actually running out of space of books that I'm actually pulling from the collection. So I'm running out of space. And I'll probably, bundle up some books to send off to CGC as well, because I need to get some stuff out of this house. Let me see what else you guys are talking about. Venom 3 third print, 3 copies sold on eBay for $800. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous for sure. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money, man. For people that are still buying Knull books and in Ultimate Fallout, I wish them well. I don't wish ill on anyone. And I hope that it all works out. The last thing that I want is for anybody to buy this stuff and get burned and, be kind of hanging out in the wind. That is something I definitely never want to see happen to people, because that just leads to people leaving the hobby. And somebody posted up the other day, they were like, I feel like I'm priced out of the hobby. Like, I've been out of the hobby for like 25 years and now I'm coming back and I feel like I'm priced out. And I was like, well, if you look at the hottest books, a lot of people are priced out. So don't look at the hottest books. Look for the the blue ocean stuff. Look for the stuff that you're interested in that isn't necessarily the hot stuff, because there's plenty of opportunities out there. You can still build a fantastic collection. But if you are focused on, the Miles Morales stuff and the Knull stuff that is super hot, you're probably going to be priced out unless you're willing to drop a lot of money. And I know when I came back into this hobby, I wasn't at all. I felt like, $50 was too much for a comic when I came back into the hobby. And then I wrapped my mind around how this hobby is performing now and realized that $50 isn't a whole lot of money when it comes to trying to get keys and add them to your collection. What is that? What book comes to mind when I ask what is your least like book you've ever read? Decorum is not good. I mean, that easily comes to mind. I'm trying to think if there's like books that I just haven't really enjoyed. I would say Decorum is definitely on that list. I don't know. I'm hard pressed. Honestly, if I start reading a book and it's not very good, I just stop. I'm hard pressed to come up with another that I've actually read that readily comes to mind that was just not a very good book. So I may just have to leave it at that, because I honestly, nothing honestly comes to mind besides the one that we've actually been talking about. And if it does pop into my mind, I will revisit that one real quick. So let me scroll down. Okay, I think I'm at the end. All right, cool. So I am going to wrap this thing up. I'm actually going to like I said, start filming a couple of videos that you guys will see in the coming weeks and possibly month or so out. But I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit here on the Twitch machine. I hope that you guys enjoyed this live stream. I don't think there's thumbs up or any of that other kind of stuff here, but if there was a thumbs up, I would encourage you to hit the thumbs up, right? And if you guys need to reach out to me, you can absolutely do that on Instagram at Regie Collects. And if you need to send me an email, you can do that as well at Regie@RegieCollects.com. Remember that I will be going live on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And I'll be giving away this book right here, Avengers number 43, a 6.5, a really nice 6.5, by the way. Be giving this book away this coming Sunday night. If you haven't yet watched the videos that have come out from the channel over the course of this week, I want to encourage you to watch those videos, because in one of those videos, I would have given you a phrase, and that phrase is what you need to enter into the contest to actually win that book on Sunday night. So if you don't know how to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is to search YouTube for Regie Collects, Go Collect Giveaway, and there's a whole video that gives you all the details for being able to do it. If you guys have entered the giveaway, I definitely want to say thank you for taking the time to watch the videos, and good luck. And like I said, if you guys need me, I am not too hard to find. Take care.